Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, friends? Daniel Dopp here from the Fantasy Focused Football Podcast over on ESPN.
It's Fabs here, Michael Fabiano from Sports Illustrated.
Hey fans, this is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
You know who you can trust? If you've got some questions about your fantasy squad,
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league? If you want to check out a cool show on YouTube that'll help you get ready for the fantasy football season,
check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
check out the Get Right Fantasy Network. You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
Get you right. Enjoy the show.
And I'm getting down cause I want my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I want my sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I want my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome back. This is the Get Right Fantasy Network. Tonight, as always, it's the it's our Friday night mocks, my friends. We are going to be doing a Scott Fishbowl 15 mock. I'm excited. This is my first one. I didn't get to go last week. I had a lot going on. But right now, I am excited to be here with my one and only buddy, Kendall. What's going on, Kendall? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. I am good. I'm enjoying the Scott Fish season, as it were. I love all, and hey, we got Rasta in the house.
What up, Rasta?
Always a good time, man. I've just been enjoying the goodwill in the community. Everyone's just I'm seeing the t-shirt, the merch, all the good stuff.
I have mine on the way.
Yeah, I can tell you what, I am so looking forward to. I don't know who in my neighborhood, like everyone, it's Indiana, everyone walks their dog. It's kind of a thing. We all keep our garage doors up, and that's kind of the porch party situation. Nice. I know you guys, I don't know if any of my neighbors or their kids play fantasy football. So I figure the best way is just going to throw on a Scott Fish shirt or two, walk around with the dogs and whatnot, and see who recognizes it. So nice. I cannot wait for that.
Nice. Yeah, I did that a few years ago, or I do that like with, I wear my shirts every so often out in the community. I have gotten a lot from my my Blockbuster shirt that I have worn from last, from Scott Fishbowl 14. One of my favorite shirts that I have in my arsenal of Scott Fishbowl shirts. But beyond that, they have great merch out. So make sure you guys are checking out the Scott Fishbowl merch, their particular website. I think I listed everything in the description, if I remember correctly. So make sure you guys go into the description. They have everything there. Their store is there. They have wonderful merch. They just finished up a program for glasses and stuff like that, like, drink glasses, which I'm excited for because I purchased them. I donated to purchase. So I can't wait to get those. And so let's get this mock started. A lot of guys waiting in there. I got the 2-hole. Kendall has the 5-hole. So right now, let's get this up on the stage, get everybody ready to get this thing rolling.
Should we ready to go? Should we hit the button?
Yeah, go for it. They're ready.
FLG, you hear my guy? I don't see green. Yeah, he's queued up.
Oh, come on, Flag. I know Flag is ready.
He's
in
cute.
one way or another. Yeah, he's always ready to go. It's okay. We got 2 in there. Hey, there he is. He jumped right in there. So don't worry, we're going to get it going. We're also going to be talking about the scoring format for those who haven't been around, too, like me. I haven't been around the last couple of weeks. I've been busy with a lot of stuff with my family going on. I'm just right now, we're going to try to get us going. I'm going to be throwing a lot of questions to this guy over here just because I need to have an idea of what's going on here. I know I've missed a lot and I need to know what's going on. But from what I gather, oh boy. Interesting. Very interesting pick. And I'm glad he made this one, even if it was autoed.
This was queued up for sure.
I know. He definitely queued it. Let's see.
Intentional.
Actually, I'm going to wait for him because I can see him typing. I know he's typing something right now in the chat. I'm going to give him a minute just to give it, because if he didn't, I want to give him an opportunity. I will give him that. I already have mine picked up. Oh, he autoed. All right. I'm going to pick my pick. But it's okay.
That would be my 101 as well.
Yeah.
Mr.
I mean,
Bijan.
it was between Bijan and Barkley for me, either way. But yeah, we're gonna make this fly, boys. You got to be ready to go. Have your queue taken care of. So for those that are listening to us,
my first share at Gibbsy.
nice. I like Gibbs. For those that are watching that are in this particular mock, just make sure you guys have the queue set. It just makes things so much easier, just for everything going on. We're going to talk about this real quick. Just for a quick second, I'm going to show you guys what the formatting is. This is the format for Scott Fishbowl. Right now, it's 6 points for all touchdowns, 2 points for all 2-point conversions. We're going to be doing 0.04. Sorry. What is that? It's
normal. It's
Yeah.
normal. It's the same thing it would be in a regular league.
Exactly.
The
Typical passing.
and QB rushing. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are all the same. The difference here is the good old sack and safeties and interceptions, block punts, so on and so forth. All your particular stuff is kind of upgraded a little bit. And then we also have a little bit of volume involved. We have 0.5 points per carry, 1 point per target on MFL, 1 point per reception on MFL, and 2.5 points per reception on Sleeper. That's insane.
The idea is they should weigh each other out because MFL and Sleeper are a little bit different. But the idea was trying to get as close to the 2.5 per reception as we could get on both formats.
Oh, of course. And then on top of that, we have tight ends getting an extra point per reception.
So
that's
3.5.
3.5 points for tight ends, which is insane. I always love when they do this tight end. This is like quadruple tight end premium. They did something like this last year, which was nice. And then the starting lineup, which is really, really interesting. This is the first year I've seen this. It's 9 flex spots, ladies and gentlemen. 9. Running back, wide receiver, tight end flexes. There are 9. Technically 10, but there are 2 super flex. So you could essentially not play one quarterback if you really, really wanted to. But it's up to you. So I think I love this particular format. I love the idea of what they are trying to do here. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about what's going on so far in this? Like we already talked about, volume is king, but what are some of your thoughts on this particular format that makes it so interesting to you?
Rushing quarterbacks are infinitely more valuable than non-rushing quarterbacks, just in my opinion. Like I think non-rushing quarterbacks are not really even worth draft. I mean, no one's not worth drafting, but in terms of like where they generally go, because with these even slightly athletic quarterbacks that aren't necessarily rushing, but they're athletic, the difference is there is a full point for a first down. Quarterbacks, when they rush, almost always get a first down. That's why they're doing it in the first place. And then it's a 0.5 per carry. So just slightly athletic quarterbacks who can occasionally rush for a first down, get a massive bump for those 5 carries for not that many yards. The yardage doesn't matter. It's the fact that they can get 1.5 points just for, a tush push for 1 yard, essentially. So if I'm drafting quarterbacks at all, and quarterbacks have been farther down my board, I'm barely taking any at this point. That's the quarterback position. Other than that, I'm pretty simple. I want my volume running backs. There's a couple volume running backs that I think get buried a little bit because of limited upside, but they are volume kings. We just don't like them because volume is one of the easiest things that can go away. Injuries, other things can happen. The wide receiver position is a little bit interesting in terms of the ranges and where I take it. I'm a dynasty nut, so normally I like my elite wide receivers, and I don't take many wide receiver 2s and 3s. But in this, it's also a tournament format as well. So you're looking for maximum upside. It's not just you can win your league and still not advance past the hyper teams that went crazy. So you do have to draft it kind of like a best ball team. Don't worry about downside. It doesn't exist. Put on blinders and just draft for unlimited upside. Draft like a 5th grader. Just go nuts with upside, and that's probably the optimal way to play. If anybody in your first 5 picks gets injured, you're probably cooked, right? Even if they don't, it's a tournament. You're probably cooked anyways. There can't be everyone can't win. It's not a 12-team league setup. So also remember, draft like it's a tournament. Draft like it's the best ball streets. Go for maximum upside.
I like it. I like it a lot. Honestly, I'm real excited to see this particular format and being able to have a second to kind of grasp what's going on currently. There's a lot of guys in here that, a lot of these guys that we have tonight have been, very active in, our mock drafts in the past. So a lot of these guys know what they're doing and know the guys that we know, that some people normally go for. I'm really excited to be able to see what I can get here. Oh man. I'm surprised this landed to me, and I'm really happy he did.
You love
Don't have a
yourself some Chase
ton,
Brown.
right? And you know what? I didn't really plan that the way that I thought I could. I get the stack with Burrow, on top of all that, which is really nice. Uh, I had the 2 spot last year, and I almost drafted the same exact team. Like I almost went with Drake London. I almost went with, I had Drake London and Bijan, I think, last year. And, I ended up getting Burrow in the 3rd round. I probably could have got him in the 3rd round, right at this pick, but, I went a different route. Now I got to think about what I want to do here. I have a lot of really good options. I don't want to have too many Bengals. I know that I could probably get away with it, but it's not really going to be helpful for me down the road. I'd rather be a little bit more conservative in this particular case. So I'm going to stick with, I didn't realize they don't put the, they're not putting, are they? Oh, there's the bye week. I was looking for the bye week. They used to put it next to the guy, like next to the player. That's okay. So yeah, now I'm starting to try to get an idea of what's going on for this. It looks, from the board, I'm a little surprised that more tight ends haven't come off the board. For you, well, there's my answering my question
That
right
help you out a
there.
little bit?
When was, why did you go with him here? What was your kind of thought process, for that?
So I'm sticking to the volume is king. It was pretty simple. I'm always checking my board for what's like the next 3 to 5 running backs just in the range. For me, the next couple of guys, there are some tournament picks like Travion could have a crazy season, but he doesn't have to. That was in consideration. Kenneth Walker down there. There's just a lot of outcomes where they're not quite volume kings, but close. Okay. Comparing them to Kittle, I was clearly staring down Kittle and Laporta versus the next available running back. The tight ends really weren't in consideration over the running backs at that point. But for me, I think Kittle has a tight end 1 outcome in his range. There's less weapons there. I'm in on Purdy. I think the offense for the 49ers is a little bit slept on just because I'm a big believer in talented players plus talented coach means they will figure it out 9 times out of 10. I don't have to project how it'll happen. I'll let the pros do it. But I think Kittle has an opportunity, especially early on, to be a big identifying piece in the team while there's Pearsall, nursing the hamstring, which can come back and get re-injured a little bit. Ayuk might not be up to 100%. So I think one of the early plans is going to be Kittle early and often. And I think that's probably just going to stick around quite a bit. So I think Kittle's going to be every bit as good as he was last year, but potentially with even more consistency in the volume. So I'm going to take a shot that for me, a Kittle tight end 1 or 2, like right next to Bauer's finish, is I think right in line. And if I can get him close to finishing where McBride did, but 2 rounds later, that's a tournament winning play. And I want exposure to it. And I also thought it would create a little bit of a tight end run, maybe help me get a couple of the running backs back because I don't want middling tight ends. So if I can create a tight end run, I would certainly like to. I might be willing to draft the tight end I don't want to get 3 more off the board so I get better falling later on.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. We got a couple of really interesting builds that I keep seeing on the board currently. We have Wilson currently going with a 0 everything other than wide receiver. We have John doing his running back, basically taking Kendall's particular strategy here with mostly running backs and going, heavy on or going with the wide or the tight end here. A couple other people doing the QB with the wide receiver, kind of mix here. So we got a little bit of everything going on here. So for those that, didn't notice in the beginning or around the 3rd round, there's a 3rd round reversal in this as well. So that's one thing that for most people that join Scott Fish and, are invited to be a part of this wonderful tournament, he normally does the 3rd round reversal. I did see some news about the concept that he wasn't 100% sure. Very nice pick. I was kind of hoping he ran to me at this point, but not much I can do there.
Dude,
Just
I
kinda
think Kinshan Juggins should be a 3-4 turn pick, if not earlier. I am so stoked to get it. This is my favorite start I've had in Scott Fishbowl so far.
nice.
This is pretty nice. I also really like the Caleb pick there as a tournament upside. Like, I think Caleb has top 3 quarterback upside. It probably won't happen. More than likely, he's not. But I think it's within the range of high level outcomes, and I like that kind
Nice.
of pick.
No, I like it. I really do like Jenkins, and I really
I like your pick a lot too. Herbert was in real
Yeah.
consideration for me as dude, he has everything. I think he's going to
Yeah.
run a little bit
I'm a
more
big-
this year. I
big
think the
fan of him.
offense is going to be better this year. It's tough because like Herbert and May are becoming the same player to me. I
Yeah.
love that they're going back to back now. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him this year in general. I've always been a fan of him. I've been trying to get him in Dynasty. I've been trying to get him pretty much anywhere I can find him. I think this is a good round for me to go with that. I know I'm kind of limiting myself a little bit, but a lot of the volume guys that I wanted are gone. I think right now these are all kind of guys that have a little bit more. They're going to be a little bit more involved with other aspects of the game. It's going to be a lot of committees in this point, forward. I think those top 5 rounds pretty much show that with the people that have gone. I was kind of hoping Kenneth Walker made it back to me, which didn't happen, but I didn't want to get him too early either. So we'll see how the rest of this turns out. So like I said, for those that haven't been a part of this and want to be a part of this particular type of, tournament, make sure you guys are signing up at scottfishbowl.com. It's in the description to make sure you guys check it out. If it's not, it's definitely part of the Fantasy Cares. One of the links will get you there. So either way, make sure you guys are signed up for Scott Bowl when it's available. Scott Fishbowl 16. You can't get in if you're not signed up. Also, make sure you guys are checking out Fantasy Cares on their YouTube channel. They do race days as often as they can. They're pretty much on 2 to 3 times. Actually, I think they're on pretty much every night. They do everything they can to try to get you guys involved and get you guys active in this particular tournament. They always try to fill spots with slow drafts. So, if you're doing this type of draft, normally you have a choice between live and slow. The live drafts are all over the world in one way or another. They're, in England. There's one I want to say there's one in Australia. I could be wrong, though. I know that there's in Buenos Aires and a few other places, too, around the world and all over the United States, Vegas, New York, where I'm going to be. There's definitely one in LA at Trophy Smack and a few other places. There's one in Texas and, all over. So make sure you guys check those out. Make sure you guys sign up so you can be a part of those particular things because it's going to be fun. I know Kendall's going to Scott Fishbowl Live in Chicago. I'm going to be in New York City drafting with a bunch of guys. It's going to be a real great time. If you're in New York City, come around. It's going to be fun. It's going to be at Legends in Midtown. I think it's 33rd and like 6th-ish, 6th, 5th, something like that. Should be fun. Right off of Penn. For those that take the train in or heading in, you can just go right from Penn. It's very quick, very easy. So let's talk about this actually. So Rafi brings up the concept of Hunter will be a much earlier pick with the IDP aspect. Do you agree? How do you feel about Travis Hunter in this particular format?
I think folks that hit the open bar a little bit and want a fun pick will take him earlier. So in most leagues, some will go earlier.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I still wouldn't have taken him at 5'2".
Okay.
If given the option. The whole idea is the IDP scoring is like regular IDP scoring, but it's up against 2.5 PPR, point for first down, half a point per carry. It crumbles to nothing. Yeah. And when the earliest people ran everyone in the NFL's numbers for 2024 for this year and came up with like, if everything last year happened the way it was, what would the scoring come out with this way? Yeah. They gave Travis Hunter, if he led the league if you take whoever was number one at that defensive position, whatever that number one rank was in terms of production, if you gave that to him for all of the scoring that he could do in IDP, he still, I think, is barely a first round pick. Bijan still scores higher than him. And that's him being the best defender in the history of football across everything. So for those reasons in particular, I just think there's better ways to go. I do think he's probably somewhere in the 5th round. But that's kind of where I have him marked at this point.
No, that makes sense. I mean, right now I'm looking real quick at going for 2 their particular ADP, and they have him at 33. So roughly, what is that? That is like the 3rd, 4th round. So I mean, that's not far off. If he falls to the 5th, I mean, he seems to be a steal in that particular case, if you really think about it.
Now, I'll say this, like, I like him in best ball a lot. I have a huge share of him. I also think he's going to be really good in the NFL. I traded out the rookie pick when it was just too good not to.
Yeah.
But I honestly just kept it, and I think some people are going to regret not going with him. But here's the thing. I don't think he's going to be a big volume guy. I mean, they have to keep him not like rested, but he can't just be winded on both sides all the time. So
100%.
I think he's going to be a high leverage player that's not running unnecessary routes when he doesn't have to. Which is going to mean I see him as exactly what BTJ did, honestly. BTJ barely, I don't think he even caught 70 balls. I think he was in the 60s. It was just his efficiency in the deep targets were huge. This is a volume is king format. So you don't want to catch a 40-yard pass. You want to catch 4 10-yard passes. And the scoring really does add up. So for those reasons, you don't want a Mike Evans, right? You'd much rather have the Chris Godwin in this particular format. I think Hunter is going to be a 10-touchdown player. I think he's going to be a guy with a ridiculous ADOT. All these things we like in best ball. And to some extent, we like them in redraft formats. But in this particular format, there's other slightly better players. Hey, that's a fantastic pick there, Mike. We're loving that. We're loving that.
No,
pick.
I actually went to go pick him, and I accidentally hit his card instead of the plus sign. So it's fine. That was actually going to be my pick anyway.
Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a really tough pick.
Yeah, honestly, this was probably my toughest pick so far. I've felt comfortable with a lot of the other picks that I've made in this particular format. I do like a lot of the guys that are going to be coming up. But at the same time, I was just, I was weighing out my options here. I almost went Olave. He was my next option. There was a lot of news out recently that he's expected to have a decent year. He's not really focused on last year with him being out with his concussions and so on and so forth. So, I think he should be okay moving forward. I'm a little nervous about him, to be quite honest, just based on his history. He can tell me all he wants that he's going to be okay. But, until I see it, it's kind of hard for me to, truly believe it, especially with him getting, his passes from maybe Spencer Rattler, who I keep hearing is, leading the way in that particular group. So I'm not 100% convinced of that. One of the 2 or 3 of the guys that I was looking for,
he was in consideration for me. Yeah, there was 2 tight ends in Olave that I was looking at.
Well, it was Ingram and Warren that were the 2 guys, and Harris. All 3 guys I was really looking forward to getting back to me. I should have just pulled the trigger where I wanted to and just grabbed who I wanted at that point, because it was just, right now, the ADP that you're using for sleeper is just not worth using. You're pretty much, I think in this format, it's grab who you want, right? Like you can't really think about anything else, right?
I mean, when you like a guy, you generally have a take on him, right? You have a take on the offense, the player, what could happen. I would just say, it's definitely worth comparing a few positions just to see what's on the board, to see if you think they're close. Because hey,
that's a great.
If the tight end wide receiver would be, Juwan Jennings, that's a pretty fantastic pick. I think the idea is where the ADP is, right? Look down the board a little bit. And it's going to be weird because you're going to think hey, this running back, I like this wide receiver over this running back, but you have to remember why you like or dislike the player, because your brain's going to trick yourself. There's a couple guys that haven't, Brian Robinson already went. He's not a guy I love, but in this format, he kind of is a volume is king type of player where he should be guaranteed those carries to some
Yeah,
extent. So
I do like Brian Robinson a lot.
but you can just do that. I'm not going to think. I'm just going to go with my guy. Just compare your guy at each position, and just remember why you like him. I think when you go into prepping for this draft, you just have to get yourself into a hyper PPR targets mindset, and you're really just kind of taking bets on who do you think has a chance, if they're not the guy, they would have been drafted already, who has the chance to, if something broke, they would have everything.
Yeah,
You know,
for
there's
sure.
some guys where, if it broke their way, they would get some of it, but they wouldn't get all of it. It would, at running back, it's like the handcuff that's not really a handcuff. Those are the guys I want to avoid. Wide receiver 2s that with an injury still wouldn't really be a wide receiver 1 type of thing. Those are the things I want to avoid.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's starting to get to a point where I'm looking at this list and I'm trying to find somebody that I feel comfortable drafting. And, this particular part of the board, at the top is
That
very
pick's good.
iffy. And I'm not sure what I like here. And I do have an option. I don't think he's going to go here. I don't think. But at the end of the day, there's only 2 spots for a lot of different. I love the Nick Chubb pick. I know he'll be involved. I would have waited, but I like the pick regardless, just, to have him later on. If I ended up going a different route, I might have done something different here. I do like this though. I think I'm gonna go with this.
I love that pick.
Right.
I love that pick a lot. There's no way you can be that high on like Drake London and whatnot if you don't love Penix there too. I think he's awesome there.
I'm a big fan, and you know what? I'm gonna do it. I
You
know
have Bijan too, though. I mean, that's a
I
good
know,
correlation.
but you know what? I'm gonna add Pitts to it too.
It's a tournament lineup. If the whole offense is unexpectedly top 5, you're printing, right? And if they're not top 5, you weren't going to win anyways.
Yeah, and to be fair, I know I'm loading up a little too much on the Falcons. Honestly, I didn't think it would go to that. I'm kind of curious to see how the rest of my lineup turns out because I need to start focusing. But the thing is, I see other teams like Wilson's who is pretty much zero everything but wide receiver, which I am very surprised at, to be quite honest. I've never seen a build like that. It's very interesting, and Wilson has always been that person. So, Wilson, thank you for always making these things interesting for me. But it makes it where I have to kind of change my particular thought process and what I'm looking for. Everybody else has 3 or 4 people except for me and you. I think me and you are the only 2 that are going with, or no, and JK Easy is not going with any type of wide receiver. They're, loading up on running backs and everything else. So, I mean, which strategy do you think would be more beneficial? We already talked about the concept of volume is king. So I see the reasoning why you're doing what you're doing. What's a type of thought process that you think for someone like Wilson who is doing, his full wide receiver build? Like, how do you think that's a good strategy? Is it, what are you thinking?
So his strategy isn't fully fleshed out yet, technically, because he can do a lot of things with the second half, right?
Yeah.
If I were doing his type of build, I would still probably do a modified version of it, but I think the idea is if you're going to run that build, you're going hyper contrarian against the established volume running backs. You're taking a bet that across the board, there's going to be a lot of running back injuries and a lot more committees than people think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much easier to project alpha wide receiver 1s in an offense than it is like running back distribution sometimes, especially at a position that can get injured 6 times a year for the same team. So there is something to be said about you go hyper stable elite wide receiver, and then you go 0 running back, right? You basically draft all the handcuffs that have high upside.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also go later grades, which means you're going super late at tight end. And you're basically saying, hey, I think everyone's essentially going to reach if it's a bad tight end year. My tight ends aren't going to win me the league, but the fact that I spent nothing on them and I'm essentially getting wide receiver 2 production from tight end 24. That's the play. Where the tournament winning play is that he is basically guaranteed several top 24 wide receivers. And then he just needs to bank on the rounding out the second half of his roster. The other thing to keep in mind is you don't have to draft any running backs. So you can also just do that. I'm just going to fade the running back position, think everything's going to be a committee, everybody's going to get injured, and I'm just going to draft pass catchers and hope that I smash on a lot of wide receiver twos that didn't have to be. The the Jack Becks of the world, right. Jennings being the actual wide receiver one on the team, Golden not being good, and Reed actually being the guy, right?
Yeah.
DK
Yeah.
being a top 10 wide receiver, right? Marvin Harrison being a top 5 wide receiver or something, right? I think I just auto picked too, didn't I?
You did.
I just take Dallas Goedert too while I was making a take. That isn't. Well, I hate my draft now. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
oh, there's so many beautiful picks I could have made there, like Strange,
Right.
or anybody. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Oh man,
I was really, really excited to see him go to that spot. I know I could have probably waited until the next round, but I figured why not load up on my tight end area where everybody else is a little weaker. I can be a little stronger, but I know I'm already going to be weak at wide receiver at this point. There's not really any wide receiver I'm loving right now off the get-go. I can throw the darts right now. Like, these are dart throws for me. I thought about going Trey Harris too. I should have maybe gone that way, but I wanted, we'll see how that goes. But either way, the one thing that people should be aware of that aren't, that if they've never done this before, there are no trades. There are no trades in Scott Fishbowl. So you're stuck with what you got. You can add drop, you can do whatever. You're still doing blind bids and, using your fab to try to get players off the waiver wire. So always be aware of that when you're doing it. Rafi asks, Cam Ward should be what they were expecting Anthony Richardson to be. Do you agree with that?
Not particularly, but it's mostly because AR his rushing was better than Lamar. Like, as a pure rushing, Lamar got better at rushing in the NFL, but if you just compare Lamar running in college to AR was the better rushing prospect. And when you compare accuracy rankings, Cam Ward was quite a bit more accurate, and just from a throwing motion perspective, from a pocket presence, just from a games played experience presence, I look at them as pretty significantly different prospects. And then I think AR was always designed to be let's see if he can throw the ball a little bit, but the rushing will be so good. I think the challenge with AR was his short yardage accuracy was a real problem, because they had enough guys that could help him get the ball around, and he was just really inaccurate with it at a bottom of the NFL level. So in terms of overall production, I don't see them as the same archetype of player, I guess, is how I would kind of take that. But in terms of how good he is in the NFL, I don't know. I think they kind of see Cam Ward as just very stable with some upside. Where I think AR was a swing for the fences pick, even when they made. I think we all kind of said hey, let's see where it goes. They drafted AR was supposed to be Lamar when he got drafted, straight up, and they figured if he fell a little bit short, he would be a little bit short of Lamar. That's just not what happened. I don't think the upside for Ward is as high as either of them, but I think his downside is significantly safer and more stabilizing. So he's an easier pick for a GM to take that early.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, I never really liked either of these two. I'm not a big fan of A-Rich. I wasn't a big fan of him last year, or just him in general. I'm not impressed. There's nothing that shows me he's anything special in my particular, head. I think he's mediocre at best. He can throw the ball deep. Good for him. That's about it. And beyond that, he has good legs and good size. He's basically what people thought Cam, basically Cam Newton, the same prototype, same size, same build, same idea, but he's not that guy. I'm sorry. He had a lot of issues with throwing the ball, just accuracy in general. There was a lot of issues. Yeah. Wow. Trey Harris made it back to me. I know
Harris
this is
nice there.
Yeah. See, I'm just going to take him. I don't care that I had Quentin Johnston. I mean, I could just drop him, even though that's a horrible idea. I'm still going to take Trey because I was looking forward to having him regardless. I'm going to take somebody to pair up with Burrow. And I don't care.
Little Gesicki action. Oh yeah,
I love Gesicki.
Gesicki is a better pick at 14-2 than Goddard is at 11-8. I
Yeah.
wish I could redo my whole draft board with that Goddard pick. Gesicki's nice, man.
I love Gesicki, man.
Gesicki is super, super nice. I always thought he was pretty talented.
I like what they did in general with, who they have. And he seemed to have a good connection with Burrow last year in general. I know that T. Higgins being out was a big part of that too. But then even when he came back, he was involved because what a lot of teams did was put their coverages to Higgins and to Chase. So for them, it just left him wide open underneath. So it's like, oh, well, you're going to cover those two. I got him. And they just ran the ball. I love the offense. I love what they've been doing. And, I'm just a big fan. I've always been a big fan of Gesicki. He's been underutilized in his career. And, it's time for him to be a little bit more involved. There are a few other guys that I like around this time too. I have a few guys that I have in mind for the coming, the next wave of players, if you will, for our particular group. But yeah, man, this draft has been going interesting. I'm real excited to see what's going to happen in the coming weeks, when we do our particular drafts, where we're doing them. Like I said, I'm going to be out in New York City drafting with a bunch of guys. Really excited for that particular group. We always have a great time. It's going to be a little bit somber. One of the guys that we normally had passed away, Anthony, he passed away recently. Real tragedy. We'll miss him. He's always, he's been there every time I've been there, and, it's a shame. So hopefully it should be a little bit fun and, we get to celebrate and, have a good time. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. Great group of guys. Really excited to see everybody this year. So yeah, can't wait. And as always, like I said, for live drafts, they only do usually 10 rounds. Sometimes I know Scott was pushing to do a little more. But I don't know if that's changed or not. We'll find out. But either way,
I think in the a couple of the admins hopped into the group chats on X for whoever's doing it, and they said no one's going beyond 10 rounds, or they're not invited back next year. So Scott was, if anything, Scott was like, dude, cut it at 5. If you're gonna do 10, do it fast. Then get back to the open bar and the apps and hang out and drink.
Fair enough. So either way. They normally would do that in the past. Now I guess they're going to do something different, which is fine. Either way, it's always fun. We get to do a slow draft after the fact, and then, everybody keeps in touch and make sure, everyone's making their picks like always. It's just a fun way to, grow camaraderie with another group of guys that, in this case, a lot of them are liking the same particular team or, group that you are a part of. I'm part of the New York Giants division. I'm assuming, Kendall, you're part of the Bears division.
I'm part of Chicago Fire, man.
Chicago Fire.
Through. I am a soccer player by heart,
nice.
And I was happy. I was like, oh, maybe the 3 other soccer fans in town will hop in here. And
I like that.
Yeah, I probably should have gone to the Bears. I figured everyone that wasn't from Chicago would go to the Bears one. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, no. That's too much of a homer pick for me to go to the Bears division. Let's go to the niche one.
Okay.
Man, I remember being like 10 years old going to Chicago Fire games, and oh man, good memories. So yeah, good callbacks.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of fun divisions out there. So make sure you guys, and every year is a new theme. Last year, what was last year's theme? Last year was movie themes, if I remember correctly, right? No, what? Oh yeah, movie themes. I was in Blade. So a lot of different, fun things they did. Food industry stuff. Food logos and stuff. The year prior, the Abby guys do a wonderful job doing Abbies. So make sure reach. I think they're all done now. I think the last one was already. They're already working on the last ones. And trying to get those out. They always do a great job. So make sure. God damn you, JK Easy stealing my pick. Right there. That's
Braylon's
okay.
a nice pick there. I left you Theo though. I thought you'd be slamming Theo here in a second.
No, there's no point in slamming Theo here. I have
take Theo at 16-2.
I have him saved for later.
He's not getting past 16-5.
I know. Just take him. It's fine. I have
He would be a
other
better pick than
options.
my 11th round pick. Let's just add one more round of picks that are better than my auto pick at the 11th round.
No, I have
fun.
guys that I'm looking into. Like right now, it's just a lot of I'm kind of reaching on a lot of these guys, and a lot of these situations. I know I didn't really draft the way that I really wanted to. I probably would have went Hollywood Brown around now, but I went with Rice a lot earlier in my draft. Having the both of them on my team when I already have the guys like, Johnston and Harris is kind of silly. But even those guys might not be the best pick either, to be quite honest, because, if you look at last year's stats for, if you look at the Chargers last season, they were currently 10th in rush rate, and they were, where are they at? 23rd in pass rate. So they're not really up there in that type of offense. So it makes things a little bit less, I should probably be focusing on another group. The top pass rated teams for the top 5 last year were the Browns, Bengals, Raiders, Jets, and Seahawks, believe it or not. So I might want to aim a little bit more for those guys. If I'm looking for wide receivers, rush rate, I'm going to look for guys like the Eagles, Packers, Ravens, Lions, and Steelers. Those were the ones that I would probably be trying to go towards just based on tendency, offensive tendencies from last year. And I'm assuming most of these guys are going to be in that same realm this year. But we'll see. There are a lot. Oh, wait, I thought you said you were going to be taking my good friend Theo Johnson. I guess you didn't.
Well, I decided I was going to play the ADP game like once or twice today. You know what I mean?
All right. We'll see what happens. It's fine.
It's too good. I want to do my it's anytime I get a chance to take Higgins and Noel and do my full like Nico's getting injured again this year take. I'm on it.
Please don't have that thought process.
I'm the biggest Nico Collins hater on planet Earth.
Oh, you shouldn't be. He's so good.
No, here's the thing. Listen up, chat. Okay, I was on Nico Collins before any of you knew who he was. Okay, I watched him in college. I drafted him everywhere. It was like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Remember when Amon-Ra was a rookie pick and no one took him in redraft? I'm saying I drafted him, but it was too soon. It was just too soon. He wasn't usable for a little bit. I had my Nico shares and I let them sit there, and he didn't do anything. And he was just okay. And when his huge breakout, by then I was already off the tape.
That's your own fault, though. You didn't hold firm.
No, I'm still holding firm that he is good, not great. He is Terry McLaurin
All
here.
right. See, and even John knew, as he was a Michigan fan, he knew who Nico was.
John will probably tell you that he was good, not great. He had a decent prospect profile.
I saw his profile his first year, saw the fact that his ADOT was almost better than anybody else on the field. I think he was top 5 in ADOT, and he only had like 50, catches or something like that. And it was with like guys like Davis Mills. And I sat there and I'm like, wow, like this is impressive. The next season, same exact thing, if not better. And then you look at it and you're just like, wow, he's doing this on the field without anyone special behind center. And then they go and grab CJ Stroud and you're like, this is going to be fun. And then he just blows up and, decides to, do what he did with him and everything. And it was great. And then he still continued it the season after. He did get hurt and it slowed him down, but he was still a really, really solid wide receiver. I'm a big fan of him, and I try to get him anywhere I can.
Just tell me how. My only point on Nico is, outside of Mixon, was there any slight bright spot on that team? Right, you had a few games of Kendall doing some things, right?
Yeah.
My whole thing is just give me 1 year where there's something else besides Nico doing something, and have him be purely dominant, and I'll see. I also think that when the team was bad, they were just having fun. As soon as the team got good, they tightened up. They didn't want to throw the ball as much. They wanted to run and be careful and play defense. And they did the Kansas City Chiefs thing. As soon as they got good, the offense was like, no. We're not going to have fun. We're going to slow this game down and we're going to win some games. Right? When's the last time we drafted Mahomes as a high-end quarterback? right? Mahomes is way better than CJ Stroud will ever be. I'm just saying the offensive identity wasn't let's get crazy. And I think we were drafting Nico like the offense is always going to be let's get crazy. I think Jaden Higgins is fantastic, and Jalen Noel is fantastic. And I think when both of those guys get on the field for a decent period of time, we'll take a tournament shot on Roman Wilson. I don't know.
Gross. I regretted all my Roman Wilson picks. If you see him on my team in any league, please come and ask me for a trade. I will give him to you for free. I was so upset for a lot of leagues that I picked him over a couple of guys that have been doing well.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him. I never
huge
was.
Disappointment. Oh, I was a big fan of him, but he was a huge disappointment. I'm a little mad at myself right now that I made the wrong choice of what I wanted, but it's okay. It's gonna work itself out. Hopefully. We'll see.
Oh, John, that's where Pat Bryant went. You took him. You took my guy.
Yeah,
John's taking all of my picks, man. He sniped me on a lot.
Really like Pat Bryant. I think he can do well in that system. He'll fit really well on the outside. There's a lot of really good picks that are still left. These are a lot of, at this point in the draft for everybody that's watching, these are guys that are kind of big dart throws for a lot of people. None of these guys are really big volume guys at this point. You're either, filling in your replacements or trying to find some type of backup if you went a certain route. So right now, I think that's what a lot of people are doing. I'm currently, I kind of like my build, but I think I could have done a couple things differently and it would have been better. I'm really regretting taking the 2.
Yeah.
I think
you don't like the turn.
I think I would like it more. I think I would like 8 better, or something in the like 7-8 area next time. I was 8 one year and did really well. So maybe I might switch it up next year if I'm able to get in. It's just one of those, you look at it after the fact and you're like, you just could do better. But we'll see.
We shall see. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of it. I like practicing the turn because I don't enjoy it in regular drafts. I would take the dead middle every time, but I'm a value sucker.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like for this type of format and the way that they're running it, where there are no set like positions and it's all flex. I mean, like you said, it's pretty much like a really crazy best ball format. God damn you, John. I should have just went Mitchell over Pierce. I'm just mad at myself that I didn't do that. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It's all going to be okay. Well, yeah, sort of. So there are a lot of picks going on that we have left. There's a lot of people that are available. At this pick, you have Jalen Royals, Amari Cooper, who's still available. How are you feeling about guys like Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen? A little bit on the older side that are still available free agents. I know you guys had Keenan Allen last year, who actually did pretty well. If I remember correctly, Keenan Allen finished like within the 30s of wide receiver. He did there you go. So where are you thinking he's coming back?
Yeah, I like Keenan more than Amari Cooper, simply because he still managed to run decent routes, get open, catch a few passes. He didn't look good, but he didn't look bad on the field. Anyone who could take targets away from Rome is going to catch some attention. It's mostly, I don't think he's still got it a lot, but I think he's a good enough name and plays a position where he can still play as a smart, savvy, like 3 on a team. I really think that Keenan Allen would be a wonderful, wonderful weapon to the Arizona Cardinals as a better wide receiver 2, but only having to play wide receiver 3 in that system. Okay. I also think it would make a lot of sense to send him to the Steelers on a cheap deal right now, so that Aaron Rodgers has more of a savvy route runner PPR type of guy to go along with DK Metcalf's hammer over the top. As Sleeper glitching out a little bit here? It did this a lot the other day, so you might want to refresh.
Well, no, it
okay.
Well, maybe, but it seemed to Q. I think that's a Q pick because he was not at the top.
No, probably was. Yeah, that happens.
Well, maybe.
Dude, our mock the other night happened to everybody. We had to refresh the screen like every other round. It was pretty brutal. Yeah, we're getting there though. So just heads up on that when it got crazy the other night.
No, you're good. I mean, we've all been a part of one way or another something happening. I was telling you the other day, I was in the middle. I remember one of my first live streams on a Sunday morning, and I was doing it by myself. And I asked my brother, I'm like, "Hey Jay, you want to come join me on my stream?" Because my brother is very good at fantasy football. He knows a lot of things. He played football, in college at Stony Brook, for a D1 school. He knows his stuff. And I get on the stream with him, and he's on his phone. And I started within 5 minutes of that, he ended up getting kicked. I end up getting kicked. We are on dead air. The stream is still going. I have to come back, try to re-sign in. Takes 5 to 10 minutes of like dead air, and I come back on, and I'm like, "Oh, hi everybody." It was the worst. Like, it was the most humiliating situation that I've ever seen. But either way, I mean, what can you do? Things happen. It's live. We always enjoy these live sessions. For those that are in the chat, if you guys have any questions about the Scott Fishbowl and what we're doing and how we're doing it and all that fun stuff, let us know. We always love taking your guys' questions and getting a little bit more, understood. Just answering questions is fun. So we want to
say
be
any
involved.
questions, any at all. If you,
I don't even care if it's not Scott Fishbowl.
If you want to go
we'll
favorite sitcom, we could go really off the wall questions when we get to round 20. You go crazy.
I'm currently rewatching for like the 100th time Sons of Anarchy, so I've been doing that recently. But I can do that for now. When you have the time, it's easy to do, but when you don't have the time, you can't.
I haven't watched like a TV show in so long. I've gotten so lost in like there's an infinite amount of content on YouTube that like I am one of like 3 people that pays attention to, and there's just, like I'm obsessed with Formula 1, and it takes forever for a race to happen. But I've just discovered that you can watch all of the Formula 1 eSport Championship now, and so I'm watching that, and I've never seen a video game broadcasters just really talk about it with the same intensity as if it were real, and it is hilarious and kind of awesome.
Okay.
Love that. Or, I tell you what, I've gotten addicted to lately. Somebody in chat tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me I'm the other guy that's maybe into it. The doctor reacts to various medical dramas. All of those.
Oh, I've watched those. The guy with the glasses.
Up.
He's like the guy, like the
he's doing the pit right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pitt's fantastic. That's
such a good show.
If you guys haven't seen it on HBO, it's worth watching. I watched it with my wife, who is an ICU nurse, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. She did critique it a little bit. There were a few critiques that were made, but overall, she worked ER for a good portion of her career and knew it pretty well. Not that crazy. I know that it was kind of, upped a little bit for the particular drama, setting. But she said overall, that's pretty much what a night looked like, or a day looked like. She used to work the overnight, so it was a little bit different. But she was saying that it was pretty accurate. Overall, they're going to be doing another season, which is great. They're going to continue on with this whole. Nice.
Slept on. He's getting slept on, y'all. Herbs and Spices loves himself a good tight end out of absolutely nowhere. And
you don't like Conklin then, or you're just
no. I like Conklin, but again, tournament lineup. You gotta go crazy. You gotta go balls to the walls, right? I'm not looking for decent, right? I've seen Conklin. Conklin's decent. That's no problem. I want better than Kyle Pitts out of absolutely nowhere. I want the sneaky Sam Laporta out of nowhere. We didn't draft Sam Laporta as highly, remember? He was kind of man, he's nice. He wasn't looking good until after the coach started talking about him. And we did just have some coach speak on Mr. Gadsden over here. So
okay.
I like
and
it.
I do like Harbaugh. His coach speak is very honest and true. He's pretty good at picking out who he does and doesn't like, and who he wants to feature and who he doesn't. So he's pretty I don't want to say accurate, but he's pretty telling on what he wants to do.
He's the opposite of Pete Carroll, you know?
Yeah, well, I was going to say kind of the opposite of Pete Carroll, who, you never know. I think I'm going to use my dart throw here. I know who I want. I'm just hoping he gets there. I'm hoping he gets there.
I'm trying to guess. Who.
Yeah, I kind of want you to guess. Guess who it is.
I gotta wait till Flagger makes a pick. I
don't think it's. He's not gonna pick him because. Okay. Who do you think it is?
You're gonna go with.
There are two guys that I like here, but I'm gonna go with
two
one.
guys you like here.
I'm gonna stick with one guy. I already have him.
I think you're gonna go with Torrey Horton or Ja'Cory Krosky.
Oh wow, no. I thought you almost had it. Jimmy Horn.
I almost picked him too. It was between Horn and Horton as like my wide receiver pick. I couldn't go with both though.
I like him a lot.
Who do you think I'm gonna pick?
Oh, you're gonna probably go Wick. No, you're not gonna go Wicks. I know you like Boutte. You didn't get Vale with Pat Bryant. You're probably gonna go. Oh, Deontay Thornton.
Am I?
I should have done Deontay Thornton. No, Felton. Okay. Thornton's a guy I should have went with. I kept hearing really good things about him recently. They were saying that he's doing well on the outside for them and working with the ones a lot more than Trey Harris. Or no, not Trey Harris. Trey Tucker. So, he's somebody that people should keep their eye on. Coming from Tennessee, he looks good. 6'5".
I was between someone took Horton, otherwise Horton for me is a smash pick. But I was the other guys in consideration were Kamir Dike and Jalen Lane.
Okay.
I think Jalen Lane is starting to move up my boards a little bit. When I looked at that's Washington's a sneaky, ambiguous pass catching group.
Okay.
Terry McLaurin holding out. Zach Ertz 1 more year. Sinnott, does he develop? We got Fat Debo clips now. Just everything is like, dude. Mini McCaffrey can't play football like older bro. Jalen Lane just has this pun intended. He has a lane to be a producing wide receiver 2 for this team halfway through the season.
Okay, fair enough.
I kind of
Rafi had Horn queued up. I like it. I like when I snipe somebody at the very end of the draft. It feels good.
Oh man, yeah. I thought this was a pretty competitive draft. I think
Always.
Everyone draft. We've been. I feel like our community and draft crowd. I think we're the ones that's probably put on the most Scott Fishbowl mocks so far.
Yeah.
I think I've doing 3 of them now, and then I showed up on 1 or 2 other people's at this point. I know I've done 4 or 5.
Nice. No, I got to get more involved with those. I haven't had a minute to do that. But we are finishing up our draft. Wilson's going to do our Mr. Irrelevant at this point. Let's see who he's going to pick. It will probably.
I think he's going to pick
running back.
Brandon Cooks or Chimera DK or maybe a Savion Williams. I think it's one of those.
I think he needs a running back to keep just in case.
But you can remember, it's all the same, right? You don't need anybody.
You're right.
You keep telling yourself,
no.
Alan.
Oh, I was gonna say Dameon Pierce too. But
Dameon. The Woody Marks is not gonna be it. It'll be Dameon.
We'll see how that goes. But we just finished up our mock. This is the top of the board for anybody to look. I know that it's kind of a lot to look at this point. I'm gonna scroll down for some people.
We can call it a first half and a second half.
Yeah, because we got the first 11, we got the second 11 right here.
Well, really, I did some homework on this. Let's see if it worked out the last time. I figured out that I basically did a when and where do I still have this is a fun pick. This is a fun pick. I'm like, what round where I've looked 50, 60 picks past ADP, and I'm like, nope, it's no longer fun. And for me, I had that figured out at I think the previous draft, it was 15. This one, it was 16. There was still one more. So 15 or 16. I think anything beyond that was actual trash for me.
It was
I think there's the
19.
first 15 rounds.
For me, it was the 19th. I had a couple of guys that I had in mind that I liked. I should have went Adion Mitchell instead of Pierce at around 18 and 19. I do like Diami Brown.
Diami
There we go.
Yeah, dude, I like him a lot.
I do like, Troy Franklin and Slayton. I think Slayton is very underrated. I think he got
Did he get the bag?
most underrated, and I think he got rated the most underrated wide receiver. What's going on, Wilson? Great to see you here. Love the build, brother. I honestly, it is amazing what you did. I like the idea. We were talking about it while you were drafting it. It's such its own unique, type of build here. Going zero RB, staying out of the volume is king situation, but going with the wide receiver group and, trying to gain the best, available guys here. I do like this strategy. It's a little different. I don't think I could do it. I'm a big fan of having a good, stable of running backs. Let's look at somebody that kind of did the opposite here. We got JK Easy doing a little bit of a different build, just, completely opposite. Which I like, going with Chase in the beginning, Irvin, Cook, Kamara with Williams, Fields, Pacheco, Etienne, Chubb, Williams, who I love that pick with Williams. I really do. Spears and Baca, Bigsby, Algier, Braylon Allen stolen from me. Just look at that particular build right there. If you want to go running back heavy, that's the one you might want to do. I like the Jones pick at 16.
It's an interesting build.
It's an interesting build, right?
I don't want to critique anyone's build in this.
No, I'm not because if
I had to make him question the build though, I'm gonna Keezy, I'm gonna make you think a little bit hard here. Okay. One of the challenges that I theory crafted out with the ultra draft every running back type of thing, like start hero RB and end with a 0 RB finish where it's just you're taking the whole range. My challenge was when I compared like the running back position to like how valuable various archetypes of running backs are, and then I looked at the starting lineup and I was like, for me there was like a small challenge of you had to make sure you weren't handcuffing anybody. It had to be like you don't handcuff your starters. It was like you had to handcuff the other player because you'd run into a situation where you need to start 11 players and you needed like multiple spots to hit within those 22 to field like a pretty elite 11 at one time. And I found in my theory crafting that when I took a lot of handcuffs, I just like randomly like threw a dart on like, hey, this calendar, here's the buys. How would this look like? Let's throw a couple random injuries in. And I often wound up with a situation where even if I smashed on one handcuff, the fact that there were so many others meant that my flex position, or one of the hyper flexes, was just consistently not great until it hit. So in like a cumulative PPG setting, or in this like making it to the finals, a lot of the upside wasn't built in all season long. And it was a little tricky for me to look at like a super high advanced rate. Like a lot had to go right. Now, if it does go right, it goes crazy. But I felt like not putting in a couple of stabilizing wide receiver twos that don't need anything. They're just always going to play, meaning they'll always be in your lineup. Fielding 11 is actually difficult. It's a lot of players. Ask anyone who plays in a Start 11 Dynasty. It's thin, right? So that's I'm not saying it's like bad. I'm not saying it's wrong by any means, because I'm the one preaching RB is the number one position in this format. I just think of all the positions, I think if there's one that I don't want to go super crack on, it's also adding a lot of handcuffs with a lot of the elite RBs. I think I want to balance, not a lot, but just throwing in one or two. And in this case, with Chase and Igbuka here, and I'm massively high in Igbuka, it really only means plus starting 2 quarterbacks. He only has to start 7 running backs essentially from that. And so it kind of ends up being like a fine number. But it's really, his build was a better version of it. But if others were like, ooh, I think that looks good, the only thing that I would mention is just be careful, because you can't have unlimited running backs because you're going to run into handcuffs. And if you have too many of them, you just don't want to flex Tajay Spears and a bunch of these other guys. You don't want to play Spears and tank without an injury, but sometimes you have to in this sort of a build. And so that's where the slight downside is. But again, I think it's mostly correct.
So Rafi has a good question, and I think I can answer this for him. So he asks, will Ray Davis push out Cook, who's doing a Le'Veon Bell impression, asking for 10 times what he's worth? I don't think he will. I don't think it's going to happen. He is showing up to camp. He is
it's not even Cook. his agent is publicly an idiot. As soon
Yeah.
as Cook changes agents, it's over. Le'Veon was the problem. Cook
Yeah.
is not the problem. His agent is a known scumbag, and everyone on X has figured it out.
So, I mean, at this point, no, I does he deserve a good extension? I think he does. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's going to be held out or holding out for the season. I think he's going to show what he's got and, do what he's got to do. Buffalo's never been the type of team that kind of, bends the knee, if you will, to a running back. They usually have been like, all right, see ya. Like, they're not going to really give in to anything. Will Davis be a part of it? I think Davis will be a lot more valuable than people think he will be. He was very involved, and, they still involve Cook too. I think it's going to be a more 60-40 type backfield, but, Cook is very effective with his 60%. So I think that at this point, I think Bray Davis being, going where he did, which, if memory served me, he went pretty, where'd he go? He is,
Oh, I thought I had him figured
I
out.
had him for a minute. Oh, there he is. He's 13,
So I was looking at him.
13-2 at Rafi, where you have him. So, I mean, it's one of those, like, I like that group right there with Dobbins, Davis, and well, I don't really like Wright, but I do like Dobbins and Davis. Those are good picks at that, around that particular grouping. I would probably have, I should have went that way instead of the way that I did. But honestly, I think Davis is a really strong choice. I don't think you can consider him a handcuff. I think he's more of a flex.
He's like Charbonnet. I think, I
Exactly.
agree. Ray Davis is closer to Charbonnet than he is like a Braylon Allen.
Yeah.
Which puts him quite a bit more valuable because he was being valued more like a Braylon Allen, who's talented but still very stuck.
True, but I do think that in this particular offense, that Aaron Glenn is looking to run, he's already kind of said we're not going to be we're not going to be leaning on Breece Hall. I think they're going to try to get everybody involved one way or another. They do have 3 really good backs involved in that system. So I do think that, I mean, Allen's lesser of the, I want Ray Davis over Allen, but I still think he's going to be used. And Allen went 2 rounds after that. So, I don't think he's going to be pushing him out. I just think they're going to complement each other. Everyone doesn't give Cook I don't think people give Cook the props he deserves for how effective he can be, even running through the tackle. Like, he's pretty much in between, in the inside tackle type stuff. He does very well at finding the hole and is very elusive through that. He's very great. He's great on the outside, to be quite honest. But he's even better on the inside, and he's willing to put his shoulder pads down and take a hit, even though he's a lighter dude and, a little smaller than, most. He's able to do that. Ray Davis is kind of like a bowling ball. He reminds me a lot of like Doug Martin, but better catching ability. So, I mean, overall, I think at this point, they're going to just complement each other. So I don't think they're going to eat too much into each other. Rafi goes, I like Wright because he'll be taking Mostert's carries. I actually, as much as I think that might be the case, I do think Ollie Gordon might be a little bit more involved, more goal line and third down type stuff, or short yardage stuff. Wright's going to be kind of mixed in with A-Chain. So it's going to, my thought process is it's going to be more of a 30-30-30-ish type split, a third split, if you will. But we'll see how that turns out. That offense is very odd, and also I'm a little nervous about anybody on the Dolphins, just because their O-line is kind of a mishmash of younger talent that they're not anything special. Losing Tyron Armstead is going to be huge for them. Even though he was out for most of the last season, you could tell that offense had a rough time getting things started. Even though Tua is a very good quick out type guy, and that's the type of offense they run. But these guys aren't going to be able to keep them upright if they keep if they're not good, because they're in a good division with the good defenses. So yeah, I'm a little worried about the Dolphins as a whole. What do you think about Wright?
I think he's a little slept on in the community, mostly because he didn't pass the eye test last year, and it's really easy to knock someone pretty hard for that. Yeah. The concession that I think we owe him a little bit of is Achane didn't really pass the efficiency test just running the ball either. He was involved a lot and he caught a lot of passes, but his efficiency came way down because it just wasn't a great running game overall. I think Wright suffered because anybody in his position would have suffered. Bad O-lines and rough situations have eaten much better running backs than both of them. So for those reasons, I remember why we were so high on Wright when we took him in the second round of rookie drafts. He has 4.3 speed. He's got explosivity. He's well-rounded enough that I think he's better than a lot of other backs that are getting more credit. And I think this is an offense that probably has to get more balanced. I think if Achane came down with an injury, he's more comparable to replacing the Achane touches than Ollie Gordon is. So I like Ollie Gordon. I think he was against someone I was drafting because, hey, you know, everyone can have a bad year. The previous year was fantastic for him, and his O-line really let him down. So I'm not betting on Wright to have a big season by any means, but as a handcuff that I think is being low, if you were to rank your handcuffs, and I think this is important, you shouldn't just look at all handcuffs as handcuffs. You kind of rank them a little bit because not all of them have the same upside. I don't think Wright has elite upside, but I don't think it's as dead as people think. Since it wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets in the field a little bit. He's not a player that needs a lot of touches for his profile to do a lot with them. He's supposed to be a burner, quick person. Him and Achane are supposed to be pretty similar. So if you're only going to give me a few touches, give me Wright over someone else that with a few touches is just going to get 5 yards a carry and you know, that's good, not great. So it's a tournament pick, right? Am I going to take him in more of a standard lineup where I have to flex him if something happens? No. In a best ball type of lineup, and this is more closer to best ball. It's a tournament setting. You've got to win. It's top heavy. I like the risk reward.
Okay. Nice. So we're not going to really go through every team and, you know, tell you if you did good or bad, because to be quite honest, I don't think we would really know if you're going to do quite good or bad. I do think that a lot of people have different ways of going about this. I think people are going to continue to try different types of builds. And, you know, we're going to be doing this next week as well, because we're going to try to get you guys leading right up to your live drafts or your, you know, the slow drafts that are going to be starting. I think everything starts right in the beginning of July. So I think usually right after July 4th, he gets these things going. So we're going to do these up till, you know, roughly around then. So just keep with us. Make sure you guys are following, liking, and subscribing to our show. Make sure you guys, of course, are liking and subscribing to Kendall's, the Fantasy Football Tavern, as well as Phil's The Extra Point.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I will actually put out content soon. I've been doing a lot of all the get right stuff, but at some point in time, there will be lots of Tavern videos, the pre-recorded stuff that's not actually live streamed that some people enjoy. I'm getting back to it. I promise.
Kendall has been taking over for the last few days or a few weeks, handling a lot of stuff while we are all enjoying our pre-summer stuff with everything going on and you know, unexpected stuff as well. So Kendall has been killing it, and really, I can't thank him enough for everything he's been doing, you know, here and off screen, and helping with, you know, the whole business and everything. It's been, you know, fantastic. So thank you, Kendall. I really appreciate everything that you do. Going to Rafi. He goes, thoughts on preference to take Davante Adams rounds after Puka, impossible first, early second.
Yeah, Rafi, I'm going to jump in right away because this is a take I am strongly on. I've been strongly on the entire process. I would just replace Puka with another name, right? Because I'm really, really high on Puka. I get the comparison; they're on the same team, right? That makes a lot of sense. I just think that offense is going to be elite. Stafford is one of my favorite later on quarterbacks. I like them both. It's more or less like I think taking Davante where he goes over. Honestly, Ladd at the 3/4 right now is a little bit spicy for me, because when I compare in in a non-dynasty setting, I just really think Davante Adams is a better pick than Ladd. I think he's a better wide receiver. I think he's got a better situation for more volume. One team wants to run the ball a lot. One team wants to throw the ball a lot.
Exactly.
AJ Brown, right? AJ Brown. I don't hate AJ Brown. I'm just saying I think Davante Adams needs to be significantly higher, right? You know who I'm about to attack here. If we're comparing Nico Collins to Davante Adams, I think Davante Adams could finish right next to him, and they're just going late. So I don't want to attack those. All those wide receivers are elite, and they could all finish as a top 5 straight up. They really could. Ladd, AJB, they all could. I think Davante Adams equally. I think he will finish as a top 12 wide receiver, and I think he could push for it a little bit more. And there are plenty of outcomes, to your point, Rafi, where Davante can outscore Puka. That could absolutely happen. And yeah, Davante is just being a little bit slept on. That will change once the redraft ADP start coming out and the dynasty air in the room goes away. You're going to start seeing that. I don't think the Davante Adams as a bust pick is going to work. You're telling me McVay, Stafford, and he comes over into a 2 wide receiver system. No, they're like, what's the bust take? You got to bust the whole team and coach if that happens.
Unless he's
and
hurt.
I won't do it.
Yeah, and I like it completely. I would rather have Davante and BTJ over Puka and who knows. And and that's for value. You're getting him at a ridiculous discount. You're getting him in this case the 5.6 over the 2.5. I'd rather have Adams at his value than having to go with Puka where you got him.
Yeah, or at a minimum, Davante Adams should be the most valuable wide receiver too, right?
Oh,
I think
100%.
he belongs, like T. Higgins is a wide receiver too. I think Davante Adams I like over T. Higgins. Yeah. I like Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice worthy, however you want to do that, split up, right? Kelsey, that whole jumble. I think I like Davante more than I like all of them for the most part without risk. It's close with Rice, to be honest. It's hard not to like Rice, despite hating him in person. But
but I mean, he's not getting suspended this year. He will play. So he's coming back from injury, but he got it early enough that he can be ready for training camp. He's going to be ready. He has already been practicing. That wide receiver group is going to be it's going to be something to watch, to be quite honest. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see, the fact that someone like Mahomes is going the 5th QB off the board is kind of silly in my opinion, but not bad, because last year he wasn't really anything special. This year he's going to have an opportunity to kind of really get back to where he used to be. And, he'll have 3 elite receivers with Travis Kelce kind of there. I think if anything, Travis gets kind of a knock, but not in a bad way. I think it's more the concept that now, teams got to focus on 3 guys. Maybe he is involved a little more, but he's getting older. He's trying to keep himself upright at this point. Honestly, I think that this offense as a whole is going to be something to be, they're always scary to watch in one way or another, but I think it's
they're going to be a better version of the Dolphins. Remember when Tua sneakily led the league in passing yards?
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen. Mahomes is going to lead the league in passing yards with a slightly below average touchdown rate, potentially. But I think...
And that defense on top of that.
Dude, the jet sweeps, the amount of tap passes that he's going to be able to do with shaky O-line, but with people that can outrun the entire other team, I think that's going to happen. Little shout out to my boy Noah Gray somewhere in there.
Yeah, I saw that. No, he went 18-8.
Dude, that's a spicy real world pick right there. I kind of like it.
I do like it. So, I have him in Dynasty. I have him just waiting in the wings for when.
I do too. Actually, I got him in the Scott Fish clone league. Actually,
nice.
I think he's currently he's at the top of my board. He's my starting because we lost our quarterbacks, right? So.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Not even thinking about that. But
I traded away so much of my team. I couldn't field a lineup.
It's going to be interesting to see. We do a mirrored Scott Fishbowl Dynasty League, and it changes with the format every year. So that's going to be a very interesting scenario. Rafi goes.
I want to stream that draft. That would be.
Oh, that would be fun. So Rafi goes. Love Noah Gray. He looked better than Kelsey many times last year. He may surprise. We'll see. I was going to tell everybody. Everybody's got to make sure they go over to Club Fantasy after this. They're live right now doing their Scott Fishbowl. He goes, it's Ryan. What's up, brother? He goes, just finished my. Oh, you guys just finished? Damn, you guys are quicker than me. Just here to get all my Mike Scott Fishbowl secret strategies. Hey, man. Thankfully, I'm not in a division with you this year. Ryan's always a tough cookie to go against. Had a great time with him last year in the Blade division. So make sure you guys, keep an eye out. I'll post my team at one point when I get to it, and once we finish. But I'm excited.
Ryan Evans coming on with you. I just had Evan Sather the other day join me on a Thursday.
Right.
Man, he was telling me he's coming on with you guys soon, man. I like him a lot, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I got
Evan's
to
the
check
real
out
deal,
yesterday.
man.
I got to check it out yesterday. You guys did great. Really excited. Yeah, same here, brother. It's always going to be a blast. We have Mike Fabiano coming as well. We have James Rodet coming from Psych. He's fantastic. So really excited for this particular year. We have Scott coming. I know Scott's coming. And Ryan Hallman, man, the guy throws a great Scott Fishbowl event. I'm really excited. He goes, yeah, we had Evan on to talk. He's his site's charity tournament, Super League. Nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, the fantasy now. Yeah. Man, it's Evan's voice just cuts through glass, dude. It's almost I had to fix my audio levels during the glitchy stuff yesterday because I'm like, man, I guarantee you they can barely hear me, but they can hear Evan a mile away. It's awesome.
You could tell his presence, and I liked it. And he was very, very clear and precise, and I really enjoyed listening to you guys yesterday, going about the Scott Fishbowl stuff and getting an extra look at what people are doing in general. So really appreciate it. I'm going to check out the guys over at Club FFL over, on YouTube. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to them. I always make sure you guys are aware of them, and they're Women of Fantasy Football as well. They're going to be doing their own little thing coming up. So make sure you guys check them out on Twitter. If memory serves me right, I don't remember exactly when you guys are doing it, but you guys are going to have a whole cast of wonderful women in this particular space. I know Kendall Venezuela, Lindsay Rhodes. Who else is going to be in this particular? I always forget. I forgot every single one of them.
Wendy's doing it. If you check,
Wendy's doing. Oh, Wendy's fantastic. She'll be definitely doing that stuff as well.
We'll throw some links to it all in our mocking with friends, drafting with friends, where we can kind of post everyone else's stuff. Right. So yeah. Club Fantasy. We'll get all that. We'll get all that stuff. Just throw it to us. We can throw it in our Discord too. We love promoting. Just anyone's got
Bob Harris
good drafting in the streets. Yeah.
Bob Harris too. Love Bob Harris. Got to meet him at the expo. He's fantastic.
You don't got Bob Lung though. I got Bob Lung though, sitting right next to me.
I love Bob. Bob's a great guy. Wilson goes, Evan sounds like a voice of off of the radio. Yeah, he definitely had that presence. I remember. I forgot the guy's name, but he did. He was working. He did one with Phil last year. I forgot his name right off the top of my head, but he had just this. If you put him in a room and you didn't show his face or anything, and then told me to pick who was the guy that was speaking, I would not have picked the guy that I saw. He had such a deep, really strong voice, just I'm going to say it, sexy voice, just really come on.
In the streets.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway. Thank you everybody for watching. We're going to wrap this thing up right now. We're going to, make sure that we're ready for you guys for next week. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you guys are checking out the Discord as well. Linked in the description. If memory serves me, if not, I'll add it. But make sure you guys check out the link, for the Discord. We are going to be there. We still have our sleeper channel one as well, but I'm trying to grab everybody over there and bring them over, to the Discord. We've been working real hard on it. Kendall's in there all the time. I'm trying to be in there a little bit more as well. So make sure, if you haven't already, join our Discord. It is free. We have a great community so far, and we're just building on it. So make sure you guys join that particular Discord. Also, make sure, like I said, you guys are checking out the other guys over at the, checking out Phil at the Extra Point. Kendall's going to be putting some stuff out on his Fantasy Football Tavern as well. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to those channels. Make sure you guys are also checking out Cody and Zach as well. They're going to be coming out with content soon. The Sweet Life Football. So we had Cody on, I think 2 weeks ago. So make sure you guys check them out as well. So thank you, everybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and we will see you all next week. Peace, everybody.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking off and